Shooting powwows might be one of the best things ever in the planet to shoot, just because there is so many people with so much passion.
I'm still guest fighting for all those things like Lennon was talking about, and all those other people who carried on. I have no choice. They're up there and they're watching. And if I misuse the pictures, they'll come down and zap me.
Culturally, we've sort of created this stereotype, let's say, of what a pit bull stands for, this vicious animal, supposedly. And it's just interesting to see these animals in a different light.
Photography actually started for me a long time ago. It started with my grandparents, who used to be photographers back home in Cartagena, Colombia. I learned with my grandfather all the darkroom techniques when I was from very little, just playing with him in the darkroom. And when I was about 3 years old, they gave me my first camera. Basically, most of my photography is commercial photography, so most of what I do is portraits, fashion, and editorial and music photography. My inspiration, it's very difficult to tell where I get my inspiration from, because for me it's something magic that just pops up suddenly. In terms of my style, I thought I didn't have one. I've been working so much on it, and I thought I didn't have one, but I actually do have one, and I can tell that just because I've been seeing people that they just look at the image and they are able to recognize who took their image. Many times they tell me, "Oh, I saw that image. You took it, right?" And I'm like, "Yes, I did." But if I had to describe my style, I think that it's linked somehow to the person that I'm shooting, because people have some special magic. There's something inside this person. It could be the most boring person that you've ever met in your life, but still there is this little spark inside of the person. So if I have to talk about my style is that one, is to find that belief, that soul of the person, make it shine and shoot it and get it and show it. There is something so attractive about this area, the water, the land, and especially the people. The people is what really draws me to this. Right now we're on our way to a traditional powwow that takes place in Wemicon, and we're gonna meet a lot of beautiful people, and we're gonna see beautiful fashions and see all this beautiful culture and traditions. So let's go and let's take a look at this. Shooting a powwow is not just shooting a group of people dancing or just shooting some sort of outfit. Shooting a powwow is a lot more than that. Shooting a powwow is shooting all those things, plus the culture, plus so many years of all the history that the natives have gone through. Powwows have been, for me during the last few years, something really important in my life and in my photography, like in my personal photography. It's actually a community that makes me feel back home, just the culture and the way how people talk and say hello, and the respect for the elders, and many things. They sort of bring me back home, and I guess that's one of the reasons why I feel so comfortable with them and shooting the powwow. So I've been able to get closer to them, to their culture, to their traditions, to their dances, to their costumes, to their people. So every time I'm actually getting better images because I'm being able to capture the real spirit, the real meaning of what their dance stands for.
The superintendent of the Department of Indian Affairs once wrote in a circular to the Indian agents of the reserves back in 1921. In that letter it states that our people are indulging in their dance and their songs, and that the superintendent directs the Indian agents to keep us quiet, and that we are wasting time with our songs and dances. And if we were to get together in assembly style, whether it be a hall or whatnot, the agents were told to fumigate. And so the reason why I share this type of information is that we need to educate the general public so that people will know that our people had to endure much struggles and tribulations and challenges to keep our songs and our dances alive today.
I think it's important to share this with non-Aboriginal people because there's a lot of stereotypes out there, and traditional pals and competition pals, you know, it portrays a real image of who we are, and not the Hollywood image of Hollywood Indians. So that's why I think it's very important that we're here.
When I dance, it's my connection to Mother Earth, and I feel really good out there when I'm dancing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
The drum is like your mother's heart. It doesn't matter which race you are or nationality that you come from. Your mother's heart sounds like a drum.
What I loved about Raoul's photographs is the capturing of the actual action and the spirituality that's there between the dancer and the spirits of that dance.
A good picture is a picture that shows more than what you can see. A good picture is a picture that makes you feel. Through my work, I'm hoping that people can see a new reality, that people can see the reality that this person that I'm taking the picture of lives. I'm hoping that on my picture I can show what this person believes and stands for. And I think that that's a very, very important part, because if there's not full understanding, it's impossible to get a nice picture. It's impossible to get something that has a meaning, that is meaningful. If the person who I'm taking the picture is a person that believes that can, for instance, fly while dancing, it's something that this person believes. So it's true that this person really believes that, and it's a reality. And it's a reality that might not be the same reality for the rest of us. But my work is to get that reality and show it, and show that there is a different reality for everyone. I love what I do. I love photography. I don't think I could do anything else. I don't think I could do anything else and be as happy as I am. I'm totally happy. I'm totally content shooting.
I was just shooting pictures, really, and having fun. It didn't seem like a job, or I didn't think of myself as an artist or even a photographer, really. I love standing and staring and observing stuff, and a valid way seems to be to have a camera and shoot stuff. I mean, I did that whole rock and roll stuff in 10 years, and that was day and night. You know, when I was doing the rock and roll stuff, I didn't even use exposure meter. It was just like guesswork. You know, you had to become your own light meter, and there was no light anyway to shoot stuff, so you was bumping the film up to 1,000, and that's why all the prints are so grainy, but it did capture an atmosphere. The pit was pretty scary. There was places where you'd fall in. Things get thrown at you from the stage. People throw things from behind. It was a danger. I hated doing live stuff for that reason, you know. And festivals were a hell of a lot worse. You'd spend 4 days in a field, and it was always wet, and it was a slog because you had to be there the whole time to work. And then the next day you'd have to print all the pictures, and they go into the paper, and then you'd start all over again. I'm Jimi Hendrix. It's hard looking back at some of these things because some people ain't here anymore, but they're here. I guess they're immortal now. Jimi Hendrix, at 68. He was really unhappy that day. He was under the pressure of business, which I guess really killed him in the end. It was amazing to see him play. It was like an instrument playing itself, and he was off on another plane. Total gentleman, a really sweet person too. You know. Boy, these two, these are the only captures of Genesis in New York on their first tour. I mean, at one point I had more money than Phil Collins, you know, I had to buy him drinks, you know. I mean, when Elton was starting, I guess, Clapton, they were doing it for the fun and for free, and, you know, we could phone up Eric Clapton and say, what guitar strings do you use, and that, and, you know, he'd be, you know, we'd spend a whole day at his sort of house just doing an interview, playing records and having toast, and, oh, wow. And Elton, yeah, I did his first photo shoot on top of Hampstead Heath when he first started out, and he really didn't have an image. But then he started dressing up later, and I ran into him a couple of years later when he was dancing about, and he said, why didn't you do that when we were shooting? I said, well, I don't know, I was just sitting playing the piano one day, and I just went and like started the image. Elton John with hair, fantastic. Man, the things that people used to do, look. This is a day we had in his house. His mum made us baked beans on toast, I think, I remember, and I spilt champagne all over his carpet. Don't worry, man, now Keith Moon was here last night. He really did a trip. And this is the band. They wouldn't pose for shots. Their manager was the same manager as Bob Dylan, Albert Grossman, and I said, Albert, you know, can I do a group shot? And the band said, no, we don't pose. So Albert had a quick word with them, and they all just stood there looking grumpy, and they really hated it, but I think it's the only other group shot of them. First time I met Neil Young, he just joined Crosby, Stills and Nash, and came to England for that Albert Hall concert. They were fantastic. Rod Stewart, I remember from early days, he was always a wally, but he did very well at it. He's winning a prize here, I think. That's right, he turned up at the Oval for this prize giving in his Rolls Royce and refused to come in, so I said, come on, you're in, you won a prize, you've got to accept it, man. Yeah, Mr. Jagger. This was in Atlantic Records, I think. I don't know, I never really got on with him well, but he was quite polite. My boy Keith, he's still going. Oh, right on. He's our idol. Oh, Charlie Watts, what a nice guy, you know. One of the best drummers on the planet. Yeah, nice. See, I was trying to get that immediate moment of casualness, not like Small Boys or do that like photography, I guess, for rock and roll has become that now. It's like totally makeup conceived. You never get to see the real artist behind it. The business wasn't invented then. There wasn't anything like that. People just dressed up in whatever they were doing. So some of them still work as pictures. I guess I was still, I was looking at trying to compose a picture. I was influenced a lot by you know, the sort of photojournalists of the period of Eugene Smith and Cartier-Bresson, and there was no real school of rock and roll photography. I didn't have anything to follow. You had to make it up as you went along, and I was a freelance, getting paid a retainer, so I could keep my own pictures. All of these were in the old Melody Maker files till I went back and and took them back again. A lot have gone, a lot have been stolen, a lot are in people's collections here, there and everywhere. And I've still got a lot of these old archival pictures, but I've got all the old negatives from way back. And there's thousands of things, you know. I guess it's our pension plan, really. Who'd have thought? To me, it was a snap and it has 3 seconds of life. And it's in the paper, then it's gone, you're doing something else. And I don't know, I mean, people who look at these old pictures or sell them to seem to have a personal feeling. I guess it takes them back to when they were in that period, or that song, and then it means something to somebody else. And now I guess rock and roll photography is being taken seriously and is a collectible, and art and rock and roll overcomes everything, you know. Nobody apart from the Beatles here was ever really that famous when I started. So they got famous and the business started, and I didn't get famous. I just carried on taking snaps, and eventually in '75 went, this is a silly party, I've got to leave here, you know.
Okay. Oh. Hey, sweetie. Stay there. So I'm doing this for the owners, so they have a nice portrait of their dogs. But I'm also doing this to have a collection of all these dogs, and I want to frame them and have a white wall gallery commemorating the last of the pit bulls.
No.
There's a shot. See, that's where I was getting her chin, but...
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I like that one.
Okay, so
yeah,
number 18.
Perfect.
So thank you so much for being so good. It's all about inspiration, what hits me at the moment. But I do have a certain agenda. I think I'm influenced by what's happening in society, in our culture. But I can't really calculate that. It's based on what's happening to my identity as I grow older. So it's not like I have a specific game plan. I'm definitely inspired by things that happen in our society, and that's sort of what influences what comes of my pieces. It's, you know, it's not that he's tired, it's that it's hard to grip. He really does let you do whatever you want to him. I decided to shoot pit bulls because I thought the entire species, in a way, is being attacked for, I guess, a bad apple, you can say. Culturally, we've sort of created this stereotype, let's say, of what a pit bull stands for, this vicious animal, supposedly. So I think we just put these things into an identity, in a way. And it's just interesting to see these animals in a different light. And I really wanted to try and see a character in each of them, as opposed to a stereotype.
If you want him with bandana or with collar,
it's totally, I mean, I'm leaving it up to the owners.
No.
You want me to do whatever I want?
Absolutely, yeah, whatever you think is appropriate.
Yeah. This is my first time shooting live animals or anything alive. I tend to do still lifes. So it's a different experience, especially with an animal that moves around and is quite excited and has a lively attitude. Oh, he's... I normally shoot still life setups, very studio based. I love the studio, I love lighting, but they're usually lifeless still life objects, such as nail polish in action and motion. I've also done lingerie, and I've gone so close to it that you can actually see the weave that the manufacturers use to make this stretchy cloth. So it's sort of this idea of skin without any actual skin, the illusion of skin or a second skin. Wait. So I had once done these pictures of candies, and they have these beautiful colors that remind you of childhood, and I put them in my mouth, and then I photographed them as this oral behavior kind of took place on them. And what it is this pigmentation of the candy all sort of mixed up and grotesque and just swirled around the surface of the candy. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. Okay, let's see what we got. I don't usually use a digital camera. I'm very traditional, and I'll use film 4x5 or 8x10. Large format film. But for this case, I thought it'd be a good idea to get into digital cameras because I can actually see the shot once it's done, and I could take a whole bunch because I wasn't sure exactly how the dogs would have reacted. But it's worked out well. I've gotten quite a good few shots, and I can actually see it right away. So it's a different way of working, and I do like it. I'm inspired by fashion photography and sort of still life setups, you know, advertisements that feature products. I'm also inspired by painting and art history. And I think I try and fuse the two worlds together, sort of the fine art with a sensational visual culture that we see in our everyday lives. And it goes with my subject matter. It's about our behavior as well as some sort of documentation of who we are. You can do it. I've been teaching university level photography for almost 5 years now. And an important lesson that I try to pass along to my students is to have a passion for your subject matter. And I think that's a very good place to start, and to research it and to understand all that affects it, and then to technically deliver it, to make sense of the idea and have it materialize into a well-produced shot for photography. Hey, sweetie. So there's an old saying that you shouldn't work with children and animals, but I was a little apprehensive when I first came in. I've always worked with sort of inanimate objects, but it's been a lot of fun. They've given me a lot of personality and some smiles, and I've had different experiences with different characters, and it's definitely worked out to actually be a great experience and opening my eyes to a different type of subject matter. So it's been a different experience, but to some extent it's a little more exciting now because there's a lot more you can pull out of the subject. And to some extent they're very well trained, so I can actually place them as if they were a still life object. So it's almost crossing both the boundaries, except that there's this extra expression in their eyes, a little twinkle, or a smile that comes across their face, or their ears start flopping in different directions. So it's been a lot of fun. It's been different. See you later. Thank you.